I read a recent op-ed about space and what you were saying, and what you were alluding to, Christian. Imagine the eerie scenario of China or Russia removing the American flag that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin planted on the moon in 1969 and returning it to Earth to use as propaganda to advance their own interests in the space race. Laugh, but I do think, to your point, China and Russia did sign an agreement. How is this going to change? Is that there an opportunity to not work together? Forget the people instead will create this animosity in space. And we have other players that I do want to mention coming in as well. India, the United Arab Emirates, trying to make a play. So, just coming back to the question again, on a governmental level, what kind of moves are you seeing to cooperate and also just to play their own game for our own defenses?
Right. So there are a couple of things. Under the previous administration, NASA came out with what were called the Artemis Accords. And Artemis is its a program to go back to the moon, to return astronauts to the moon for the first time since Apollo. And as a result of that, NASA said, we want to create these sort of bilateral agreements with partner countries to join our efforts. Because again, going to the moon requires all the resources from the commercial sector, but also from as many international partners as they can get. And to sign the Artemis Accords, those are, sort of, I guess, rules of the road in space that partners would need to agree to. So, for example, if you do science in space and you make a discovery, you need to share that with the world, that everybody benefits from it. You have to be transparent about what you're doing and where you're going to be. And so that if you're on the moon and you're mining, you need to let people know where you are and what you're doing, and to be very sort of transparent about all of that. And they're getting signatories to that. NASA is to work to go forward. And yet when you talk about space now, so that's sort of the diplomatic effort, the military effort, and I think a lot of people derided the Space Force, right? And there was that Netflix series about it. But if you think about what we use space for from a military standpoint, it's remarkable. When you mentioned the reconnaissance, it's also missile warning, missile defense. That little blue dot on your iPhone, the GPS signal, that comes from an Air Force satellite. And it not only gets you like to your kid's school in the morning or to work, it guides precision guided munitions, right? So that the bomb hits, the bad guys in the convoy and not the school bus with kids, right? And all that comes from space. And these satellites are there literally like sitting ducks. And other countries, notably China and Russia, have demonstrated that they can take those satellites out with a missile, or they can mess with the software or the sensors, and they can jam it. They can render a reconnaissance satellite blind for a minute. So there's a lot going on up in space. That these people know. I had one military person say at a conference once, Sputnik, when that went up, people freaked out. They absolutely was pandemonium and panic. He was like, it was a beach ball. The beep. That's all it was. If the general public were aware of what's going on in space today, like it would be that level of sort of concern.